Hi, and welcome to episode 9 of the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast. My name's Jo Ferreday, and in today's episode, I'm going to be chatting to Lucy Brazier. Lucy is the founder of a leading global publication for administrative professionals, Executive Secretary magazine, as well as a range of spin-off international conferences for top-level assistants. Usually, Executive Secretary Live would be run annually in London, Johannesburg, Wellington, Sydney and the USA. But this year, like many organisations, that have had to adapt to the virtual world. And Lucy and her team have worked tirelessly and created Global Event and Exec Tech Live. Lucy's ethos is definitely one to push and support administrative professionals all around the world, and she campaigns worldwide to change the perception of the assistant role within companies and to promote career progression for all administrative professionals that they deserve. As a publisher, speaker and chairperson, Lucy has transformed the way that thousands of assistants think about themselves. And we really enjoyed having a chat with you today, Lucy, so thank you. We hope you enjoy the episode as much as we did. Hope you enjoy.
I'm Lucy Brazier. I'm CEO of Marcham Publishing, and we publish Executive Secretary magazine. Executive secretaries all over the world are one of the backbones of industry. We're looking at a fifth of the world's working population, and 98% of them are women. So that's a huge group of people to be misunderstood. And we started this magazine 5 years ago because the recession was saying that assistants didn't get any training at all. So we took the concept of putting together a magazine that was purely training and no advertising at all, with the idea that then the assistants whose businesses wouldn't support their training would pay for them to have training in print. And that has worked because we're now going into 182 different countries. The training provides everything from the kind of Microsoft training that you would expect an assistant to be doing, all the way through to personal development and inspiration, really good dose of inspiration in there. We want assistants to understand how key their roles are within their companies, and the best trainers in the world write for Executive Secretary.
Well, I would like to welcome our guest today on episode 9 of the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast. I'd just like to welcome Lucy Brazier, and I know that my intro will definitely have told everyone about you, but for those that aren't aware of your backstory, Lucy, can you tell us a little bit about your journey to date?
Oh gosh, well, I've been in publishing since I was 18, and I'm now 51, nearly 52, and I worked for local press, I worked for national press at the Times and at the Independent, and I ended up working for a big publishing company that specialised in legal publications in the centre of London and looking after about 80 people and a £94 million budget. And it was all going swimmingly, but I was on a train at 7 a.m, very rarely home before 10 o'clock at night. I have 3 children of my own and 4 stepchildren, all of whom lived with us. And I got to work one day and just thought, I really can't do this anymore. And I wasn't very well, actually. I really wasn't very well. And the doctor signed me off for about 5 weeks, during which time they reshuffled and I was left at home in a situation whereby I had 2 kids at private school. We had a huge rental cost of the house and everything, and I had no money. So I had inherited a newsletter back in 2003, which was for the secretarial profession. And it was purely training. There was no ads in it at all. And it was just in the UK, pretty much. The odd subscriber from abroad, but mainly the UK. And I thought, I wonder if I took that and I turned it into a proper magazine, whether that might be the answer, because I could sit at home at my kitchen table and it would be a lot better work-life balance. And of course, it wasn't quite that way, because 4 months later, I was invited to come and speak at a conference for assistants in Milan, and I did that, and I was blown away by the deep passion that these women had for their role. There are men in the profession, but it's about 98% female. And also the fact that most of them felt undervalued and weren't coming from a place of confidence. And about a month after that, I went to the late Susie Barron-Stubley's PA retreat. And again, quite arrogantly, I suppose, I'd been in business 24 years at that point. I thought, well, it'll probably be quite good fun. You know, I'll go along, see, what's it going to teach me? I've been doing this a very long time. And I just came away from there with about 70 ideas for the magazine, but also with a really clear mandate as to where I would fit within the whole profession. And actually, I've spent the last 10 years, because we're 10 in March, traveling the world, talking to CEOs, talking to HR directors, talking to thousands and thousands of assistants. And last year, I think, was something ridiculous, like 183 events right the way across the world. There was one year I did 42 countries, but really advocating on behalf of the assistants and explaining to them why they are so amazing and why their businesses should take them seriously and how they contribute to the bottom line of the business. Because I think many of them feel that they are support rather than part of the business, and that just isn't true anymore.
Oh no, it's not true. It's absolutely not true. I mean, I left college. I did a secretarial course, and the first roles that I did in my career so far was secretarial, and you know, it is such an important role, and I think anyone that thinks it isn't is clearly mistaken. But as you say, you have built a successful global organisation supporting millions of administrative professionals throughout the world, which is just, it's great. And it's so lovely that they've got that support. And you keep churning out all this great stuff for them to evolve and to build as individuals, not just as pivotal people in their businesses, but to grow individually as well, which is so important. And, you know, there's lots of things, despite all the challenges that everyone's faced. I mean, you guys have you've dug your heels in and said, well, we're not going to let this pandemic get in the way of what we want to deliver. So you can please share with the audience what you've delivered this year so far.
Oh, goodness. I mean, I have done over 50 of these, which, you know, on the whole, I'm trying to explain when I'm doing these to the assistants that actually this is their best opportunity ever to prove what they're made of. So I'm really trying to encourage them to see this as a positive as opposed to something which is going to negatively impact them. But also, obviously, you know, we do conferences on 5 different continents normally outside of COVID. And our London one was due to take place 2 months after we went into lockdown. And so we pivoted. I hate that word, actually.
I know, and me, I really don't like it, but that's what a lot of businesses have had to do.
So we took everything online. We did a conference, which we called Exec Live Global, which took place in June, and we had 552 assistants from all over the world attend that. Amazing. And that was 48 hours of continuous learning from some of the top trainers in the world. And then we went back and asked them what they wanted, and they said, well, we want tech. We feel like we're imposters. We've got horrible imposter syndrome, and any minute now our executives are going to catch us out. So we did another 48-hour conference, and that one was purely technology for assistants, and that was over 1,000 people.
Amazing.
And now we're just about to launch a new one, which I'm really excited about. But we're doing this event called Parallel. And the idea behind Parallel was that I work with some of the top assistants in the world. So I work with Nelson Mandela's assistant, with Obama's assistant, with Oprah's assistant, with Richard Branson's assistant, just to name a few. And we sat and thought, when the last list of the most influential people of our time was produced, I wonder how many people that we work with, we've got the assistants for them. And it was 12 of them. And so, and the ones that we didn't have were people like Hitler and Mother Teresa and people like that. So I thought, how amazing. Maybe we should do an event which isn't just for assistants, although obviously assistants can attend as well, but which is looking at the top 3 lessons that each of those person learned through working alongside their principals.
I love that.
We have got half an hour from each of them, and it's going to be on one day, date to be determined, but because we were meant to be running it in November, but actually we haven't managed to get the filming completed yet because COVID has got in the way. and because our speakers are based all over the world. But
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
so excited for this because there are some really phenomenal.
That sounds
stories.
amazing. Really, really great stuff coming out. And do you think had this not happened that would have evolved anyway? Like it would have come about? Or do you think because of this you've maybe took stock of everything and thought, what else can we do?
I think it's a great time to be creative.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Somebody said to me a little while back, you should never forget that after the Great Plague came the Renaissance.
Yes.
And it's true, you know,
Yeah.
all that amazing creativity and art and everything else came out of the back of one of the most desperate times in our history.
Yeah.
And so, funnily enough, actually, I've also just bought a domain which is Renaissance event, because I think there may well be an event then later on which says, okay, what are the really positive things and creative things that came out the other end of COVID?
So many, I mean, yes, it's been awful for many.
It's been terrible.
It's been awful, but there will be opportunities from the changes, and that's, you know, you have to look at the positives. Yes, there are negatives that you can't take that away, but you have to look at the positive. I mean, that's sort of instilled in me. I can't look at the negatives for too long because I'm not that way. I'm not built that way.
I'm a half full girl,
absolutely,
not a half empty
me
girl.
too.
And you know, yes, of course, there are some really terrible things. And actually, there's my brother-in-law's mother has just been diagnosed with COVID this morning, and we're all a bit, you know, because she's very much part of the family, and it's been terrifying. And you know, so many people have died, and we can't take away from that.
No, we can't.
But on the other hand, I think with every situation, you have to try and look for the positives. And that's absolutely my ethos always.
Yeah, definitely. Over the years, you've held a number of senior leadership roles. I think I know the answer based on your introduction, but what was your main motivation to transition into running your own business?
Well, actually, it was, I don't think I would have done it had I not got ill. I think I was on that hamster wheel, and I was so worried that if I got off, everything would fall apart. But when I was forced into it, I suddenly realised that I was quite good at it, actually, which I don't know why I was surprised, because I'd run really quite major corporations in the past. But I think I sat there and suddenly thought, well, actually, even if I only bought in a 20th of what I was bringing in for them, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think it's the work-life balance thing as well, isn't it? I think when you're a hamster wheel and you're going, and you don't, I mean, it's like this year, you know, I know I'd have been running around doing all sorts of things, and actually I've had a year of focusing on my little one, getting him ready for school, and stripping it right back, and like you say, getting creative and thinking about what needs to be thought about, really. So, yeah.
Absolutely, but I think there's also a lot to be said for doing something that makes your heart sing. And publishing is a rat race, and I'm not a rat. I always believed that you could run a publishing business ethically, and I think I've proved that you can do that.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, I was really scared when I got sick. I was really scared, but actually I don't think I will ever be that ill again, no matter how hard I work. And I do work probably 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. You know, but it's fine.
You love what you do, though, don't you?
I love it so much. You can tell it's my passion.
Yes, absolutely. What does resilience mean to you, Lucy?
What does resilience mean to me? You know, I think there's that poem, isn't there, by Rudyard Kipling that says, if you can keep your head whilst all about you are losing theirs. And for me, I just think I'm getting a bit long in the tooth, really, for how I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, where something would throw me off kilter. I tend to take a step back and I breathe and I try and look, as I said earlier, for the good in things and for where the creativity and the opportunity is. So yes, of course, occasionally you have the odd moment, but on the whole, it's remaining steady. It's always looking forward. It's always thinking as to what the next thing might be, and having ideas and not being scared to share those with other people, so that you're constantly creating.
Yeah, I mean, and I truly agree with you. And I think all of us, every single one of us in the whole world has had to find and dig deep and find that resilience within ourselves this year. And there's still, I mean, there's an awful lot of people that are still struggling, you know, with all of everything that's going on. But like you say, in terms of opportunities, those that may have been made redundant are seeking out, you know, how they might be able to run their own businesses. You know, you've got a whole new wave of entrepreneurs that are literally starting right from the word go.
Well, you know, I think that's the other thing.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been made redundant when I got sick, I would never have started my business. And I'm forever saying to people, actually, it's an amazing opportunity to sit back and think, what do I really want to do?
What do I want from life? Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, what message would you give to any budding entrepreneur at this time?
What I would say is that the harder you work, the luckier you get. And if you're not prepared to work, there's no point in doing it.
No.
But it also has to be something that really makes your heart sing. And I'm so all over that. If it isn't your passion, if it isn't something you know enough about, if you don't fit, you know, I started with £10,000 and there was another magazine that launched at the same time that spent over £1 million.
Wow.
And it's not still here, and we are. So, you know, it's not about the amount of money you've got. It's about being really focused, understanding what the business is, and working really, really, really hard.
Yeah, and I think what this year's taught me definitely is that supporting each other through it as well. I mean, there's so many collaborations that have happened, or people that, you know, we might be working with that we might not have worked with before now. And I think that's the other thing, is supporting each other along the way, isn't it? You know, if you can.
I agree. You know, Jo, one of our mission statements, which isn't a public mission statement, but which is on the wall in our business, is the money's in the conversation. And I truly believe that. It's partly why we have such a massive social media presence. When we started the business, I had no marketing budget, but, you know, we have got 45,000 people who are part of our group on LinkedIn and 12,000 on Twitter and about 20,000 across our 2 Facebook group and page, and about 2,500, I think, on Instagram, but that's a new one. But we consistently talk to everybody, and not just our clients, to the people that we work with, to the people that are our suppliers, everybody we talk to consistently, and we try and make them feel like they're the only people that we're talking to.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. You guys are always in touch, you know, we're always catching up on different things that's going on, and it's great to hear how everything's evolving, and I love hearing about it, because I think it's very inspiring, really, that you're doing all of these things. Obviously you love it, but it's great that you're offering these opportunities to others. So what motivates you, Lucy, as an individual? What motivates you, make you tick?
What motivates me? The assistants motivate me. They're amazing. They're such amazing women, and they're so passionate about their career and about supporting to the best of their ability. And so often that's overlooked.
I think they're a force to be reckoned with, aren't they? And I think that one element needs to be recognised and embraced. Really.
But they're starting from a point of view quite often where they feel less than everybody else, because, you know, most people didn't choose to be an assistant. They fell into it, and quite often their parents will have said to them, oh, you know, you're not as academic as your sister or your brother, maybe go and do a typing course, or maybe go and, you know, learn how to do shorthand, especially in the olden days.
Yes, yeah.
And these days, you know, it isn't that at all. They really are strategic business partners to their executives, and they give their executives back time.
Yes, absolutely. They're a linchpin. You know, it's an essential role in any business. Absolutely.
I'm not in the least bit driven by money. I want to eat.
Yes,
obviously. But I'm not one of those people that looks and goes, I want that lifestyle and I've got to be making that amount of money this year. You know, for me, it's far more about the fact that I can get up on a stage and I can inspire 2,000 people in one hit, and they go away and write to me and say, you changed my life.
Yes,
I've never
absolutely.
had
I mean,
that before.
you know, who doesn't, you know, who wouldn't be motivated by that? And I'm with you. You know, I'm not a materialistic person at all. You know, and I think that's my upbringing as well. But you know, of course, because in life you want nice things, but it's not an essential part by any stretch. It's been a difficult time, as we've talked about during pandemic. Can you offer our listeners an inspiring message?
Oh my word. I just think it is such a time for creativity. Let your brain go mad and think about all sorts of things that you could do. And I always say to my team, no idea is stupid. Let's look at everything and see which ones land, you know?
Yes, yeah.
I think that's the best way forward, is to understand that you know your market. And if you know your market, look at where the gaps are. And actually, it's quite easy to see the gaps. If you start, I recently did a product map, which I haven't done for a while. I went, oh my gosh, look at how much stuff we do. But by drawing that out, it was very easy to go, there's nothing there.
There's a gap there, yes.
There's a gap there. That's something we could do. And that's exciting, I think.
Yeah, I think it's, and like you say, let that creativity ooze out, and don't be scared of taking the bull by the horns and saying, I'm going to do this. And, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's okay, but I've tried it, and I won't have to think, what if anymore, you know?
And the good news with events is it isn't like it used to be for me when we were doing the events on 5 continents, where it was costing me £80,000 every time we did one. And if it failed, you were bankrupt. These days, because you're doing your events online, you find that actually the cost is very little.
It's very little, yeah.
You know, therefore the overhead is small and you're likely to make a profit. But if it all fails, you go, oh, I lost a couple of grand. You know, it's not...
it's not like you've lost the whole thing. Talking about events, I mean, in your view, obviously a vaccine would be amazing, and you know, they're talking about that all being rolled out really quickly. How quickly do you think people will be keen on attending live events again?
It'd be interesting, won't it? I mean, we're planning to do live in London in September and Seattle in November next year.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
And the point is, it isn't even how, I mean, I can't wait. I was saying the other day to my son, gosh, when we're all together again, just the hugs and the, they are such a family.
The hugs. I'm missing
the ones that
hugs.
come to our events.
Yeah.
But obviously we want to make sure they're safe, and that's got to be at the forefront of anything that we do. Yeah. And having said that, it isn't even whether they want to come, because I think they will want to come. It's whether their businesses will allow them to travel, A, and B, whether they'll insure them. Because now we've all done this stuff online, are the businesses going to say, well, you can go to online ones, but actually I don't want to pay for you. I mean, we had somebody last year who flew from Australia for the weekend to London for our conference, you know, which is a bit barking. It's wonderful, but I can't see businesses supporting that moving forwards. Can you?
No, not really. To be honest, that is a bit barking. But that shows that's a testament to how great your events are and how great you are. And what projects are you working on? So obviously you've got your parallel thing going on, and you're doing another exec tech live.
We've got exec tech coming up in June, and we've got exec tech global, which is the broader one. Brilliant. Coming up again in March. Amazing. But I've finished recording my training course, which I usually give over 2 days, so that's going to be on demand, or I can do that live for in-house, or I can do a kind of public course with that. And I've been writing the book that goes alongside that, so that's in the final stages, which is very exciting, because I haven't got a book yet, and I think this is going to be really, really useful, and an easy way for people who can't afford to attend my training to get that training in their hands. Brilliant. But we're also rebranding. Secretary, we've been executive secretary for 30 years, 31 years in fact, and I have always said it's a brand. And the Times is an old word. The Telegraph is an old word. It's just a brand. But actually it becomes untenable, especially in the States. Secretary is seen as being something that's derogatory. And with the way that I feel about my assistants, the last thing I want to do is to do that to them. So, we've been looking at it, we've been throwing what we might call it around. You're looking at a complete new redesign, and we're 10 years old in March. And so the first of the new rebranded issues will be out on the 25th of March.
Exciting. Oh, I look forward to that. Well, thank you so much for your time, Lucy. I love chatting to you. We chat to you for hours and hours and hours, and I'm sure our audience will really love and appreciate our conversation today. So wish you every success with everything, and we look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Thank you for the invite, Jo. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm sure many people will have really taken a lot of inspiration from your conversation with me, and wish you every success with all of your future endeavours, and look forward to having a chat with you very soon to see how things are all going. And I know many people that are off that beaten track and unsure of what their future path looks like will really have been inspired. So thank you. If you're enjoying our podcasts and vlogs, please do feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to access all of the historic episodes and all the future ones, along with any of our other Sheer Edge content. You can also follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest, just to connect with us and follow our journey, and also to share any questions that you might have for any future guests. We're always interested in your feedback, so please do feel free to reach out to us. Our next guest, I'm so excited to say, will be Penny Power OBE. Now, Penny is really an inspirational woman. She's not only a keynote speaker, a best-selling author, a founder of Academy, and director of Social Power and the Business Cafe, but she has so much knowledge and inspiration and insight, not only to how you run your business, but also the personal side, and has written a book called Business is Personal, amongst many other of her ventures. So I'm really looking forward to having a chat with Penny. If you've got any questions you want to share with us, please do get in touch with us, and we look forward to sharing that with you soon. Thanks for listening.